We've got a lot of updates from the staff side, and we don't want to rush them. So that's one, we might be able, you might tell her that we expect that we will finish early, because we really are going to talk through kind of the chair report. We're going to do a quick update on, as you saw on the agenda, just on kind of where we're at on all of our strategic plan calendar. And then Danae's going to give an update on various things, and then we're going to wrap. So you can say that we think we're going to try to wrap early, so she's aware.
I've started.
Unless she's like on the couch watching the game.
I've started recording, so whenever you're ready to start the meeting.
All right, great, everybody, welcome. I'd like to call the October 16th, 2025 meeting to order. Before we move on to the agenda items, I'd like to acknowledge our hybrid meeting format. It doesn't look like we have anybody. You said maybe Anvitha might join in that way, but
yes,
I'm not sure as of yet. Our meeting is being recorded and is available by contacting Janae or via the City of Bothell website. The call-in number was provided on the meeting agenda for members of the public who wish to call in by phone, but they're all watching the game. For our phone and callers and during presentations, we'll make every effort to specify which materials we're referencing so everyone can follow along. Okay, with that, we will take roll call. So position 1 is now open. As we know, Sarah had moved out of the area. Kylie Cheng, position 2. Do we know if Kylie's coming tonight?
She said she's going to be a little late.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Hillary Long, position 3.
Here.
AC Peterson, position 4.
Here.
Holly Hughes, vice chair, position 5.
Here.
Mary Beth Turk, position 6. That's me. Nikita Thakala, position 7. Unshi Shah, position 8. And Anvitha, we think, is joining late as well. Right? Yes. So since Kylie isn't here, do we have a note taker for, I can do it. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, in addition, the following city staff are in attendance: Arts Liaison, Tourism Manager Danae McGee. All right, so the first topic is the approval of tonight's agenda in order and content. So if we are okay with the agenda as it was sent out, we just need somebody to make a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
All right, does anyone want to second that?
Okay, since I'm starting late, hold on.
Okay.
Starting at 6 o'clock on the nose. Okay.
And then, right, at this point, we have 2 people that may be late. You can make a note of that. Here comes one. There we go, Kylie. Oh, good. And she'll take over on notes.
Okay, I'm going to stop. I have like 3 lines. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thanks. Great. Yeah, we're just, right, we're on the first topic. We have, AC made a motion to approve the agenda, and Unshi has seconded the motion. So the motion is to approve tonight's agenda in order and content. Does anybody have anything else they want to add? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. All right. It's unanimous. Anyone opposed? No. So the agenda is approved tonight. All right, there are no public comments, so we can move on that. Also, there are no special presentations tonight, so we can move forward with the next topic, which is the chair report. And so what we wanted to do, our last meeting in September was very focused on the whole grant program and all of the entries for that. So we wanted to do a circle back on the meeting that we had with council, look back at kind of the key topics that were discussed, and just kind of summarize that along with what we see as our priorities, and just make sure we're not losing sight of it as we move forward. I think I mentioned that our goal is to have an update to council in early December, and we'd like to make sure we're making some progress on these various things before then. Also, there's some things that Danae's going to talk about as part of this presentation, as well as later on during the staff, about things that are going on. So I feel like there's a lot of different art touch points that all kind of work together. So I think it's a lot of great content. So let's see, can I just ask again, who was all there? I know some of you had to miss. Okay. And then you weren't there, right? At the actual meeting with City Council? Is that right?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay, no, I think you were traveling already, right? Okay. So we'll try to, you can listen to the recording if you want, but there were kind of 3 main topics: public art, ongoing communication with council, and then a cultural plan update of kind of how we're doing against that. So if you jump to the next slide, tonight we're really focused more on the public art piece, and then we'll have additional discussions about ongoing communication, them seeing us more often, bringing ideas, et cetera, and then how we're doing against the cultural plan update. Shoot, there was one thing I was just I was just going to say, as we said this, what was it? It'll come to me. Oh, I know. Danae sent out the note of kind of summarizing the kind of the comments from all of the council members. So if you haven't had a chance to look at that, that's a good thing to go back and look at as well. This is kind of a level higher than that. So when we asked the city council what their overall art priorities, things that they wanted, we kind of bucketed them into 3 areas. Temporary public art projects. As we heard loud and clear, everybody seemed to want to do utility boxes. And we've talked about it here. We've kind of put it on a back burner at that time, but it seems to be something that everybody feels like we should embrace and move forward with. Mayor Thompson, I know specifically, and I think one of the other council members talked about, construction projects, chain link fences, ways to just beautify, simply, quickly get something out there to kind of help create more awareness in these spaces that are, under construction. Crosswalks and sidewalks, there were some different ideas regarding that as well, kind of more in this whole temporary public art project space. Then there was the discussion about permanent public artworks, having more murals on buildings, having more sculptures. People brought up like waiting for the inner urban, different kinds of things and how we could maybe do more of that. Also different signage ideas, how do you like blade signs that are in Palm Springs, or how do you just have more signage around welcome to Bothell signs, et cetera. So there were a lot of different things, not unlike things that we've talked about as a commission, but other ideas as well. So and then there was discussion, more thematically about historic ideas, cultural ideas, more Native American influence, just a lot of different ideas. Also, more connection with and collaboration with artists and our community. Is it a big art project? All, different things like that. So as we look at, at our priorities and we look at this, how do we make these things come together? So the next slide really goes back and looks at some of the things that we've been focused on in that space of temporary public art projects. We've, as I mentioned, had also been looking at utility boxes. So I think we want to, roll that up and spend more time talking about that. Mural vinyl wraps, we know, what impact that can have, as we've seen here in City Hall. So what other opportunities are there for us to do things there? Lot EFG, there's a lot of activity that's happening right now. As I don't know if everybody knows this, but I don't know, is this this week or it's very recently now been renamed Triangle Junction. And there was some sort of official like opening ceremony or something. Was that just this weekend?
Yeah, it was Saturday.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And Danae is going to talk a little bit more about that as part of your staff report, right? And then the downtown public art plan, that's another thing that's on the update. I know Danae gave us a quick update at the September meeting, but can tell us a little bit more about that tonight. So those are definitely things that we've been talking about. There's definitely some overlap with City Council there. So, I think the whole goal of talking about this tonight is to say, okay, there were a lot of great ideas out there, but how do we just kind of narrow in and focus on the key things that we can make happen so that we have, a cohesive story to tell when we go to City Council soon. The next area under permanent public artworks, we know from our meetings with the Parks Group and the updates from Danae, there's a lot of activity happening with the parks. We know there's the Cedar Grove, the immersive park. There's the park at Bothell Landing, Wayne. Some of these are further out. There's also Madrazo, although we know that that's maybe less of an opportunity for artwork. But we know that there's this opportunity for us to really align with the Parks Department and do more there. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And we know that City Council also wants us to be, to have art as part of the park. So how do we really work closely with the Parks Department to continue to make that happen? As well as signage, just I think in this regard, maybe more just Bothell signage overall, right? And then thematically, very similarly, we've talked about historic and cultural themes, as well as, more engagement, obviously, with artists and our community overall, et cetera. So we're very much aligned in what that looks like. And the next slide really kind of, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, we had this slide. So
we just added this one at the last minute.
Right. So since we have last met and since we had the city council meeting, Danae has some updates on the Cedar Grove Park that are important for everybody to be aware of because that's a project that's moving faster and something that we want to make sure everybody's aware of so we can talk about it as part of our overall priorities.
So just recently, I met with the design team for Cedar Grove Park, and they are looking at 3 elements of public art that they would like to incorporate into the inclusive playground at Cedar Grove Park, which is located in Snohomish County. They're interested in doing a main focal interactive sculpture, and we're looking at anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 to do something like that. And if we were to do a focal sculpture, we'd be looking at using the 1% for public art funding that we have available, which is about $170,000. It's taken a while to get us there, so we've really coveted that money for a long time, trying to wait and see how we want to dedicate these funds. They also are interested in doing a series of smaller size bronze animals. So think along the lines of what we have out in front of City Hall, maybe a little bit smaller, but these would be also interactive pieces that would help tell a story. Oh. Hi, Nambita.
Hi, sorry, I had to restart my computer. I'm late.
No worries. Welcome. Nice to have you here. We're just kind of going over where we're at with the joint meeting we had with council recently. And there's kind of 3 main priorities that we heard from them when we met at that joint meeting. And of the 3 tonight, we're talking about public art and how we are activating or interested in activating temporary public art and permanent public art, and how we collaborate with other departments to see that done. And then also how we might be able to start using some of the 1% for public art funds that we have available, which is about $170,000. So one of the areas that we're talking about is adding a main focal interactive sculptural piece at Cedar Grove Park. They are doing all kinds of design. They're in the design phase right now of making improvements to that park. That park will include a all-inclusive playground, and that means that the playground will be interactive for people of all abilities. So as you can imagine, when you have some people have sensory type issues, and so that becomes a big part of an all-inclusive playground, and that's where sculptures can play a really big role in that design. So in addition to the large focal sculptural piece, they're also interested in doing maybe 3 to 5 bronze pieces. Aaron Milner, our parks manager specializing in the design and development of our parks, came to a meeting a couple months ago when he talked about Cedar Grove Park. One of the animal ideas that they had is doing minks, because at one time that land was a mink farm. So that's something. Yeah, you're not alone, Holly. That's something that we've, talked a little bit about. It's like, do we really want to, is that something we want to focus on? So I'm interested in hearing everybody's feedback about that, because I have voiced some concern around that to staff. That also would either potentially be 1% for public art funds, or it's part of the budget that they have dedicated to the improvements to the park. We're still waiting to see kind of where that goes. That would be probably between $60,000 and $80,000. So as you can imagine, if we did those 2 projects alone, that would wipe out our entire 1% for public art funds. So we need to be thinking about how we want to do that, and there's a lot of other land and a lot of other parks in Bothell too. So. And then they also are interested in doing inlays in the pavement, and they're looking to have that donor, and that's assumed in their budget. So that's not something that we would be using 1% for art funds for. The timeline for this is that we're in the design phase between now and March.
That's 2026.
Correct. That's a typo, thank you. Construction documentation and permitting will start in March and go through September of 2026. Public bidding will happen in September and October of 2026 with construction and completion by June of 2027. So we have plenty of time to go through this process and make a decision about how much we want to dedicate to the use of 1% of arts for this project, and then going to council ultimately and asking for their approval of the Arts Commission's recommendations, and then they'll make the decision on how that will be broken up. Any questions?
No, I'm just getting bad texts about the Mariners.
Oh, no.
It says deja vu, so I don't want to know.
Okay.
So, one thing, I don't know if Danae mentioned this or not, but the group that's working on this is Harper's Ferry, which is a group that basically it does this kind of work all around the United States, or maybe even internationally. So, these guys are very focused on these kind of interactive playgrounds for all people. Anybody have any thoughts, comments about just us using some of our public art funds for this purpose?
So have they already designed the sculpture and this thing? Do we have
No.
any details on it?
No, so if we were to do this, we would do a call to artists. We would go through the process that we do for through our public art plan, and we would accept applications from artists, and then we would go through a panel review, and that would be narrowed down to probably 3 artists, and we would invite them and pay them to do a maquette or a design of what the art would look like. And then the Arts Commission would recommend the piece that they would like to see. And then, of course, the Parks Department would be part of that as well. But ultimately, it would go to the council for final decision.
And because this is part of an immersive playground, I would assume the Harper's Ferry folks would have some sort of input into what kind of guidelines regarding the sculpture.
Yeah, the way the public art plan reads is that the architect of any design would be part of that panel, but they wouldn't have a vote. And then it would be all the other stakeholders. So Parks Department would definitely have representatives on that panel. Probably maybe Aaron from the Parks Department would probably be part of that conversation as well.
So is that the recommended amount that they're suggesting?
That's what they're anticipating the cost would be if we were to do something like this, but we can have further conversations about that too.
Do you have any thoughts?
I mean, I'd like to just continue this conversation because, this is, Cedar Grove is the park that is right down the street from me. It's the one I go to most often. I'm really excited for this. Do we want to put all of our eggs in one park basket?
I think that that's definitely a fair point. And we don't have to put all of it in one basket. We can say, sure, we'll support one, but not the other, right? Because for that very reason. Right. But it's like, but how do you guys feel about, we haven't, since I've been on the Arts Commission, we haven't ever tapped in. Well, I think the fire station, but that was funds specifically for that property. Yeah. One of the other things that Danae reminded me of is that Park at Bothell Landing, Wayne, some of these other projects that are further down from a calendar standpoint, those will be based on a levy, and those will have 1% funds specifically allocated to them as a result of the kind of project that it is. So we'll have some money for that, and there is art as part of those overall budgets and things that are being looked at as well.
Does this one also have that incorporated into it?
No, it would not be a levy. So we would be using that savings account, that bucket of money for this project.
And then opposed to the other parks, they would have the levy money and we would then come in.
Correct.
I like the idea of, it's very exciting that we finally have a park where there's something concrete that we can like start thinking about. So and especially because those other ones have that levy money coming, I like the idea of doing at least one of them or something for this park. But I also really like the idea of using public like the 1% for utility boxes and something more temporary as well, and not giving all our money to this one park. So if we could maybe do a little bit of both, because that's coming in a couple years, and then something like utility boxes could be in the next year. So maybe we kind of spread it out a little bit that way.
One of the things too is, we also, as going to a council, we can propose, we'd like to use our X amount of our public art, 1% of public art, for public art funds for this, but we propose that we have a general fund, we try to get funding in a different way for the utility boxes, right? I mean, they can say no, and we can say, okay, well, then we have to ask for it in our budget in 27 or whatever, right? I mean, but we don't have to only go on the 1%, right? We can try to ask for additional funding. Correct? Correct. Okay. So I think, I mean, I would just say, one of the things, I'm in complete agreement with what people have voiced so far, in that it would be great for us to do something of all the places, this place that is welcoming to all, and the most of it just, it feels like such a great fit. But again, don't think it should be all of our 1%. In addition, I do like the fact that it's north Bothell. Yeah, I just feel like we do so much down in this area. It would be great to have a signature statement up there, right? So it checks a lot of the positive boxes, but again, you don't want to put all of it in that regard. Okay, sounds like everybody's kind of in the same place. And the reason why we just wanted to bring that up is because this will kind of lead to, like, what do we want to, I mean, it sounds like some decisions have to be made fairly soon, right, Danae, from an overall?
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to keep going on the presentation, or are we good?
Well, I think the only other thing we were just saying is, so we have these things that we've been talking about. We know the utility boxes, Cedar Grove Park, those seem like kind of top priorities of things we want to look at. Then there are these other things that, through Danae will, the Creative Arts Grant Program, we have the things that we all loved last week, the plinths with are they fish? I'm trying to remember what.
Salmon, and then the blades of change,
Right.
and so we've got some great other temporary projects coming up that we're not going to be needing to use 1% for art funds for. We've got grant funds, or we're partnering with other departments on projects, so we've got some good things down the pike. It's just really, making, I think, that kind of that decision ultimately of, like, what do we want to focus our 1% for art funds on permanent public art pieces, and then, as you were mentioning, doing something along the lines of, hey, we love this idea of utility boxes, but they really are more temporary. This is something that we could look at general fund dollars for in the future.
And if everybody's in agreement on this approach, then first of all, the next question is there anything else that was discussed that anybody's just like, but we really need to get behind X that came up that just, someone wants to.
It would be helpful for me, and I'm willing to kind of do this, to do a shared document that has all these brainstorming ideas that we can sort of say, this would be $1 million. So leave it on the list, because if somebody brings it up again, we'll kind of say, yeah, we thought about it. And the other one would be, where would the funds come from? Maybe this, maybe A, maybe B. And then for me, that would help guide the discussion on, this one is in the coming years, so we really need to address that.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I think what we're trying to do here is, like, what's next, but let's not lose sight of a lot of really great ideas that have been, brought forth, and maybe there's even additional ones that we add to that list too.
And I'm happy to work with you on, like, putting the list together. I don't want to just say it and make you do it, so.
No, that's fine. And we're kind of at I don't know how easy it would be to put that list together. There was kind of a brainstorming at one time where we were like, hey, it'd be great to do, like a combination of art and a water feature that kids, like a splash pad. I know that was an idea that you had, and, we were kind of putting together, we're having troubles finding that.
Right, because we actually, we talked about, do we bring that all forward today? And then
there was, so people were brainstorming a lot of these ideas, and most of them are on here, or they're you haven't seen it yet. And I say that because I meet on Monday with the consultant that is doing the design component for the park at Bothell Landing. And she has drafted her ideas for public art opportunities for the park at Bothell Landing. So very much in the early design phases of that. We're several years out before we would even think of doing anything for the park at Bothell Landing. In addition to going through the design, we then have to present that to the community for their feedback. And then we're going to need to do a levy, because that's going to be that's something that will be, like Cedar Grove Park, we can include as part of our general fund dollars, but when it comes to something like Park at Bothell Landing, we're looking at $7-8 million to do. And it'll be the same for Wayne Golf Course as well. So Wayne we haven't even started design for that. We have a consultant that is now starting to work on that. But I think at some point, not too far in the distance, Hannah or someone will be presenting the design concepts for art for the Park at Bothell Landing.
So I think, yeah.
You know what I mean,
I
like,
do,
just to
yes,
have the
because
conversation.
I think, and it's great that we'll see those from Hannah, but it's also, I feel like the more we can kind of keep that thread of ideas, like in people's minds as new people come on and other people leave and other ideas come on, it might be that there's this opportunity that Hannah comes back but there's this thread of an idea that comes from this like discussion that we've had. So I think what we just wanted, maybe we look to carve out some time, maybe it's the November meeting or something where we can where were we with all these different things? Is there anything else? Let's just kind of talk about these so we keep that kind of that creative thread going. Does that make sense? Is that what you're?
Yeah, and if it's on the shared folders where.
Yeah, we just couldn't figure out where.
We couldn't find it.
We put that, I could only find the PowerPoint I had done for it.
Yeah. Do you have your PowerPoint that you did?
Sure, I'm sure.
If you could forward that to me, I'll add that into the shared file. And then we had a list going of, brainstorming ideas.
I might be able to find a hard copy of it.
And I'll
myself.
keep looking too.
Can you put that as an action item?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will.
For the utility boxes, how many are we planning to do, and if so, where are they?
I think at this point, we're saying, do we agree that we really want to dive into the utility boxes further? How much do they cost? Where would we put them? I think we would want to make a recommendation on where we would want them. I don't think we ask council to do that. I think we say we've assessed, and I'm not quite sure how we do, but I feel like we need a more dedicated group to kind of look at this. And I know you've done a bunch of work already, so we want to start with that, and then what else needs to be done. And maybe that's an update for November as well. So I guess I would say if there's, so let's start with what Danae's already put together. And then if we feel like there's more work that needs to be done on that, we can reach out and see if anybody wants to kind of be involved, maybe walk around some of these places and figure this out. We can kind of figure out next steps. Maybe we can send that via email or something to folks. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay.
I would think high traffic areas.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
On the other slide, you had Cedar Grove, utility boxes, and then question marks.
Right.
For the question marks, I really think that there was such an emphasis on better communication that I think the third bullet point should be something about what is our actual plan to communicate? How are we going to get council input? How are we going to incorporate that? That needs to be its own.
So that's actually, if you go back to the second slide, the purpose of tonight was just to kind of talk about the projects, but the second topic was communication.
Okay. Sorry for jumping ahead. I was like, it needs to be a project.
No, I absolutely agree. And then the third was the cultural plan. So we don't, and I think going back to that recap, I think it's this one here, there was a lot of great input on that document that Danae summarized. So we don't want to lose sight of any of that, but we felt like for tonight, we just want to focus more on the project side of it.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yep, no problem. Okay, with that, if we're good, we can move forward, I believe, to the next topic, which is new business. So the topic under new business is consideration of the September 18th meeting minutes. So we need a motion, someone to make a motion to approve the September 18th meeting minutes.
My motion to approve.
Does anyone want to second the motion? Okay. Nikita, yeah. So the motion is to approve the September 18th meeting minutes. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up regarding that, these notes or minutes? All right, then all in favor of approving the September 18th meeting minutes, please raise your hand. Anybody opposed? And can't see Anvita, but I'm assuming that she's raising her hand. Okay, great. It is unanimous then. Okay, great. So the vote is for the meeting minutes from September 18th are approved. All right, the next topic on the agenda is old business, which is where our strategic plan calendar and assignment update. What we'd like to do here is not spend too much time on it all, but just quickly go through each of the boxes and just say, do you have an update that you'd like to share? If you don't have an update, do you want to, should we plan to have something in November? Where are we at? Just so we don't lose sight of kind of where things are at. Maybe the first piece then we're kind of already here at Q3. Danae, are you,
Well, there's some things that have been completed, but then there's some areas that maybe we could get an update. And if there's no update, that's fine. But like the expanded integrated marketing approach.
Is your comms manager able to meet? Are they still, I know they're extraordinarily busy all summer long.
Yeah.
So that's the only holdup is we want to make sure to run everything by them. But I don't want to take up their time when they're overwhelmed with a million things, so. When convenient for them.
Okay. Okay.
What happened to the May, October meet and greet?
well,
I don't know if I missed like a meeting on there or something.
yeah, actually, who wants to give the update on that? Because it's pretty exciting.
We've got the meet and greet scheduled for Wednesday, November 5th at the Bothell Library.
So it got
And you
combined
can
into
take
one
these
event for the fall, because it seemed like.
Meet and mingle, that's what we're calling it. So, and you have already been communicating with your Bothell folks
Yes.
who are really excited about it. I'm going to take some of these up to Stricka and make Apothecary, and they have connections with the theater company in Kenmore and drama group at the high school, because her daughter's in there. But invite people to come. The info.
And then also, I know we talked about an email list if you wanted to know about art ideas or art going on in Bothell, that you might send it to as well.
That's on my to-do list. I'll get.
And are there more of these if people want them?
Yes, I have another stack here that I was going to put up at the counter. So, Anvita, if you want to pick some of these up at the counter at City Hall, you can. And I think that's, everybody else is here, so there's some here. So please take some, pass them out to your friends, your family. If there's any public places that you go on a regular basis and you want to, there's a table that they can go on and you think people would be interested, take some for that as well. We also have the postcard for the current art exhibit that is out in the gallery.
Is there nothing at the library? Have we put some in the library? Because like a lot of people who go, they have like that huge wall with upcoming stuff and flyers to take, and that might be something.
I did drop some off, and they were excited to have them. I don't know where they put them though, so.
It's too bad we didn't have a bigger poster, because that's one place that does have the bigger size posters, right?
Yeah.
Is it possible to have it just perhaps one printed, like, just printed out on?
We do that through Vistaprint, and I could see if the graphic designer could figure something
Yeah,
out.
because it's pretty visible there, right when you walk in the library there, so.
The date for this, sorry, I missed that.
November 5th.
November 5th?
Yeah, it's a Wednesday.
Okay, does anybody have anything else on the define the arts, parks, arts and rec? We did a little bit of, Danae did some like research on any other entities, and I think there was only one around the area that had actually arts included. Doesn't mean that we can't still recommend that, but our first step was kind of looking to see our others going forward and doing something and including art in that. So I guess, Danae, I think we can kind of just combine that May and October to October and just to update this chart.
This is
Social media?
Yes, yeah, we're working on that right now.
Does Arts Commission have their own Instagram account or something?
No, it's through the Parks Department.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry, I was thinking that was, this, but this is this.
The artist recognition.
Right. So, thank you for sending me your notes on the artist recognition event. And so if one of you want to talk about what you discussed, here are your notes.
So AC put up this document, and then we discussed about, we went through each point, and we put in our inputs. You would like to?
Yeah, this can be wordsmithed a little more, but recognize the citizen of the city of Bothell, a resident. I guess resident is a better word, who contributes to the quality and presence through the arts. And, we can talk about the awards, something that's, budget-minded, certificate, little event, maybe coffee before a council meeting. And, call for nominations citywide. Nominees cannot nominate themselves, but people can who live wherever. Like someone from Kenmore or Seattle can nominate someone from Bothell. I think it could also be a former resident of Bothell. Maybe they just moved. I don't know. And thinking about who would be on the panel, I know that the city council really likes to be involved, but if we had one member from each of these entities for discussion, and if we have some sort of an online form that people can complete, we have some bullet points for nominating somebody. And we were thinking of two categories. One would be an individual artist, and one would be a community leader or teacher or of an organization. I feel like they're two different categories, and we don't want them really competing. So those are the thoughts, and thinking of nominating in the spring and then presenting the award in autumn, excuse me, of 2026.
And would this become like an annual thing?
Yeah.
I think somebody had the idea of doing it in October. That's Arts and Heritage
Oh,
Month.
yeah, that makes sense.
So I think that's great, we could do the call maybe in the late spring, and then that would give everybody plenty of time to review the applications and apply, review applications, and then make the decision. And then I love the idea of doing something in conjunction with something before a council meeting, maybe in the gallery area. And recognizing them also with a proclamation during the meeting.
Yeah, I was wondering, and I didn't know if it was on that sheet or not, but just, so if they get a certificate, but what other kind of communication is there so people are aware? Oh, this is pretty cool. I mean, so is it on, like you've done the artist spotlight before and some of the things, what are the ways that we communicate that this is something that Bothell does because we really support our artists?
Yeah. I mean, I think a story about winners, certainly.
An interview, and we could post it on social media and do an artist spotlight similar to what we do for Begin at Bothell tourism side.
It's interesting. I was, you guys know the guy who does he used to be with the Seattle Times, and he would do Gabe Campanerio, is that how it was?
Yeah.
He's a Bothell resident, right? And then there was somebody else I just saw, and they were a Bothell resident. These people that are actually quite well-known artists, right? And I think we have so many artists that we don't even know, but wouldn't it be cool to have this place to find out more about it, right? And I don't know what that looks like, but it's just, we have these hidden gems of artists all around our community. I wish more people knew about it, right? Yeah, the artists wanted to know. It wanted people to know, of course. But anyway.
I think this is such a great start, and I feel that what is here gives me as the staff person enough information to begin the process of putting together an announcement. But of course, prior to that, it would be having your committee review it, take a look at it, and then see, what we can tweak and make different and refine before we go live with it.
Can you go up to the top of Because one of the things I'm just wondering, yeah, okay, the purpose. We might want to, as you're like thinking about how you're sharing this forward, is going back to the cultural plan. And, you know, we have one of our key strategic directives is supporting artists, and just kind of tying that literally, like specifically into that verbiage, because it helps, yeah.
Nurturing and promoting
Yes,
our artist
right.
community.
So just
and-
that just says, hey, you know, this is, we're doing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, using some of the language too. We don't need to
Yeah.
necessarily say, this is our strategic direction,
No,
because
not
that's,
at all,
yeah,
but
but
just-
using
yeah.
some of the language similarly to what was done when we created kind of the mission and vision.
Right.
That language was
Yes.
incorporated in.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also just, and maybe part of that too is just that how, and recognition, some, the ideas of how we plan to like communicate this once we do it.
Okay, great. All right.
Okay, anything else? I know we have a little further down here.
We continue
Oh.
to do featured artists for featured artists through Begin at Bothell, not necessarily through the city's e-newsletter. But
But we certainly would take this artist that we just talked about, you know, that would be a perfect thing for
yeah,
a newsletter of some sort.
we just got done featuring Lauren Ida, the artist in the gallery. We went live with it, but then when she got sick and wasn't able, we took it down, but I just told the team that they could put it back up again. So we'll be featuring that probably in the next day or two.
Do you know if it's possible for her to come back and do
That's a great
a
question.
meet where we can meet her and?
She did ask about that, so we could, she was thinking that maybe she would put together a date that she and her friends and family could come, and then we could coordinate it a little bit around that. I don't know how much more, we could maybe do something through social to advertise it.
Nikita, any updates or anything you want to say regarding the art gallery? We know it's completed, but just is there any?
I've been so busy with my art projects at the school, so I've not been able to follow up.
Okay.
But I would just request if you guys can take one piece, take a picture and post it in the group on social media, so that people know that this is like still ongoing things, you know, that it's still there and it's not closed.
We were actually talking about that earlier today, and that, you know, we had that, quick guide for marketing, and maybe we can bring that up again at the next meeting, make copies of it for everyone, so that you, just as a reminder to do exactly what you just said, you know, take a photo, post it on through your channels, hashtag the hashtags that were listed on that sheet.
Yeah, actually, maybe put that on the action items too, because
Yeah.
we didn't talk about that.
I don't know, but like for the third one, from my notes, I said I was gonna help with that. I don't know where that's went at all, since I kind of left for 2 months.
Are you talking about the, under the identify and participate in key events, that one, or which one?
No,
are
I
you-
think she's talking about the
Triangle.
art gallery.
The triangle,
Triangle.
the third triangle.
Oh, so the third one, regularly engaging, responding to our.
Yeah, I
Oh.
don't know where that's gone.
Okay, so, and she's part of, I need to update this sheet and include your name there.
Okay.
Yeah, AC's name also needs to be in that Arts and Heritage month with Kylie and me.
Add me to that in the meeting.
So Hillary, is there anything you want to bring up, or do you want to plan to update another time, or?
Let's update it another time, but I mean, I think it's just kind of, there's a list. Should we do something? Should we add that to our program of work for the next year? And
Should we add a develop?
I developed the list of like, here are the key things. I think it's just kind of a conversation either at the end of this year or in January and say, let's pick one and do a thing.
Gotcha, okay.
So that's it. That's my update.
So let's, as an action item for a future agenda let's review the list. Maybe it's in November if we have time, because that seems like maybe appropriate before 2026, of what are the key events and would the Arts Commission have a greater role in tying into some of these things?
I apologize. Did you give me that list and I didn't include it somewhere, or?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember the list, so I thought maybe I was not there for something, because it's
Yeah,
ringing a bell for me.
I think I did, but I'll just send it again.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I
And then
couldn't-
if you and Anshi want to, I know you want to be part of that, Anshi, so,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I will. I'm sure I sent it, but I could also may not have sent it, so. Okay, I'll let you know. Thank you.
okay.
Okay. So I think the other things that we talked about assigning an engagement of an individual BAC member to Bothell entities like Cascadia, the chamber, et cetera. And we haven't really, I don't think we've taken that further than.
I mean, I think the only thing, my name was up there because I already have so many links to the colleges. So I think it was like, I'll be your touch person for the colleges. And then was there going to be more?
Oh, I think it came from the cultural plan, that workshop, and are there other areas, and Danae, you probably connect more with the chamber, right? But are there any other places within the Bothell community where we should try to have more of an engagement? Like, I'm just making, but like Emily at Make Apothecary, right? And she's doing a ton of
I'll
things,
be the
right?
connection there. I
Yeah.
can easily, because I can just walk there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also do high schools, because like once you start getting to high schools, right, there's a lot of kids in like they're doing kaiso and the symphony orchestras, and you also have like the theater productions that are going on. Or,
Yeah, absolutely.
right, that might be a good connection.
I love that.
That would be great.
So I know we're kind of trying to focus, we're trying to move quickly tonight, but maybe as an action point also is just, these are all great things. Think more too as you're in Bothell, like, it's not Suga anymore, but Willard, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just like places that naturally are connections for artists, and just, do they know that there even is an arts commission? And I know they do through you, but I mean, just like places like that. Should we just be trying to, or McManamons does a lot of artistic things, right? So are we as connected as we need to be, or we'd like to be? So that maybe let's just have a quick discussion. Is there any, and we take this list, and we can kind of take what's come up so far, have that, and then maybe add to it in our next meeting too. So just think about that a little bit more. And even further up north, I know that there are some more like art-focused workshop places and that kind of stuff, right? So let's continue that discussion before we say it's done.
So so after we create and assign an engagement or we engage with these entities, what do you do after that?
I think the point is so that they know that there's a resource to maybe help whose goal is to connect the community to artists, and for artists to have a place. Basically, we are that bridge, right? So are we as informed about what's all out there? Is there an opportunity to even like do something more with it? It's just helping us bridge more communication between the art and art entities in Bothell and us.
And maybe rather than, every time we do a postcard and we try to say, hey, I'll go here, here, and here, maybe we already know that ahead of time, because we know that AC has a connection with Make Apothecary and Strick, and Holly has that connection that we've identified ahead of time, like the library or Willard. You're that person, because you're that contact and you're that conduit. You're the one that's dropping off the postcards to those places, and we don't even really have to then email back and forth with one another and say, hey, I'm going here, here, and here. We just know that your connection is Deep D and the school there, and that you're going to be giving the mix and mingle postcards to the students, and we know that you need 30 postcards pretty much every time. That's a good way to make it
Yeah.
start, you know?
Agreed.
It makes it simple.
So my thought is, after the library started, I contacted all these artists, right, 3, 4 artists, and had them do it for us to start the library. But then I have to give them a feedback about whether I feel responsible because they have done this for free for us or for the community. So I feel responsible that I need to give a feedback to them about how their art is being accepted in the community. But we don't have a path for that yet because it's not there on the social media and a lot of people are not engaging with the library. So I can't go back and tell them, oh, can you create more pieces for us,
No, that would not be,
right?
no, because as a government entity, we can't do anything for free. Like, we pay our artists for everything. So that's really important. So yeah, you're right. We would never ask anybody to do something for free unless they want to volunteer their time to do something. You know, that's a different story. But I think at this point, keeping it really simple and just passing out the things that we are doing that we think that other artists and other people interested in the arts would be interested in attending is where we start.
Maybe through that have a way for like other artists to contact other artists, right?
Absolutely.
'Cause, like, I feel like if you're like sometimes it's just hard to make connections.
The last week's art walk, I guess it was last week. So it was, they had the passport and it was Arts Alive. What is that in relation to what, is it Hannah at Willard was doing? Or is that?
No, I think she, the.
She's
makeup
volunteering.
artist, She is doing it. Her name is.
Yeah, Emily.
Emily?
Emily, yeah,
Emily's now doing it. Holly, or Hannah was helping out, but it was all Emily, and she really reimagined it, and apparently it was an incredible turnout. There was over 300 people there, so.
So that's when we gave the grant money, is that partially to that, the Arts Alive?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't, yes, but not that particular event.
Right.
She paid for that out of
Right.
her own pocket,
Yeah.
so it'll be for the next upcoming ones. We can talk about that when we have the discussion about our grant
Okay,
program.
gotcha. Okay, so we'll try to move on. I think the rest of this, everything, and then presenting the annual calendar work to council. Obviously, we want to have more updates to council, and we plan to have one in early December is the next one. So yeah, Danae, maybe you and I can just work on, if you have any questions on the updates to this, but let's definitely have it updated before our next meeting. Okay, and with that, then we can move on to staff report.
Okay, so as you know, we met last month and we went over the juror panel's top scored applications for the Creative Arts Grant Program. The Arts Commission committed to funding 10 applicants for a total of about $52,000 of available funds. As you also know, based on an email that I sent to you after the meeting, Nick is committed to providing the pedestal for that salmon sculpture that will be at the park at Bothell Landing. We also are going to be funding three pedestals at Triangle Junction, which is the new name for Lot E, F, and G, for 3 blades for the Blades of Change temporary public art project. The pedestals are being provided by funding that Ashish has for reimagining the Triangle Junction, so that activation. So we're doing really great there. The total budget to date is $50,725, which leaves about $1,200 of available funding. I wanted to give you a further update on the queer COVID conscious creatives. In the last email I sent to you, I told you that we would not be able to fund them because they were definitely open to having their event in King County at the library, but they require their events to have masks, and the library can't manage something like that. They can't enforce that. But I went ahead and reached out to our GIS mapping team at the city to verify that address that they wanted to do their activity at originally is within the Bothell's urban growth area, and it is. So here's the question that I have for all of you. The real question now remains, do you want to fund an art art classes, not just a one-time event, but a series of classes at a location that is somewhat, it's part of our urban growth area, but it's also somewhat isolated. It's not exactly easy to get to, and something that would require people to wear masks at. And if you are all on board with that, then we can go ahead and continue moving forward and funding this project for $600. If that happens, then we have a little bit less money, obviously, available, and that less amount would be $675. So you can either choose to have me continue working with each artist to refine their needs, or if you want to dedicate those other funds, I know at the last meeting we talked about, if we could, dedicating more funds to the art walk, because they had asked for quite a bit of money and we ended up giving them $2,000. So I need to know what you all think with regard to, one, funding the queer COVID conscious creatives for $600, and then how much to dedicate to either the Bothell Art Walk or divvying it up between some of the other applicants.
So she's doing, I think the Bothell Art Walk next year is only going to be 3 events,
Correct.
right? Earlier, when Hannah was doing it, it was 5. And now it's going on to be only 3. So we're asking for 10,000 was a lot of money, I thought, for 3 events.
Correct.
And it's mainly we are paying her, I mean, the funds is mainly for her time to put things together on
And
social
marketing.
media and marketing.
Yeah, I mean, they had I don't know what, people had passports and they were all, and
There were little signs and.
yeah, the signs were nice and just, you could tell which,
Posters,
who
yeah.
was a participating retailer. So I'm sure that costs some time.
And she did quite a bit of boosting and ads on social, which was impressive because sometimes I don't see that. And I really saw it on social for her event. So she put a lot into it, her own funds.
What is the city's current COVID and masking policy?
It's not required.
Because it's not required and as a city, we're putting money behind it, it makes me go, well, we're not in line with what the city says. Like, I want to support artists, but we also have a
You know, it feels
duty
like,
to be in line with what the city says.
I went back and reviewed the application to see if we missed anything. And there's nothing in the application that states that they would require participants to wear masks. The only place that you see it is in at the end when you submit images of your work. They submitted past events that they've done, the posters, and it says there that masks are required. But the panelists would have never noticed that. I
and do you
certainly
think
didn't
it's still,
notice it.
are they saying now, because we've had these conversations about the library not being a venue, that they require it? So you know that it's still a requirement of theirs.
Is there a reason they require it?
There's some health issues with the community that they are doing the classes for. The other thing that wasn't flagged by the panelists that I think was missed was the fact that they're not doing a public event per se. They're doing classes, but they specifically state that they're not doing a culminating event. So there's no opportunity for the community to go and see the artwork. That's not, and they specifically state that in the application. They say, in the past, we've done a culminating event, but the group didn't enjoy that. And so they just really wanted to focus on the classes, and those are open.
They are open.
They are open, but people are required to wear masks.
Yeah, this feels like it's going to be this one group just this one group will attend, and they're already attending, and it feels like it's not super open to the community as a result, and especially if they're not doing it in an event where they can showcase anything. I think it kind of goes against what we're trying to promote, yeah.
And I do worry about the mask.
We can do it at the library and keep a box of masks for anyone who enters, and
The library won't do it, though.
No, that's the thing, that the mandate isn't there, and so it's
That's
their
why the
personal
library
mandate,
is
so.
declining.
Yeah, that's why they're declining.
I feel like it's missing the public benefit. from it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's
I agree.
for me even.
Okay, so it sounds like we're going to continue not funding them, which means we have $1,275 of available funding. So would you like to dedicate that to the Bothell Art Walk? Would you like to just have me work with each of the artists to refine their needs? There's, one group, for example, asked for $1,000 for the venue. Well, if they wanted to do the venue at the theater, it's now $2,000. I'm talking to them about a different location, and they are looking into that, but if they still need more than $1,000, it would be nice to be able to have a little bit of wiggle room to have conversations. I can have conversations with Emily too about, what the costs were for the event she just did. And then we can look at kind of what her needs are for 2026, if you'd like.
And 2,000 for 3 events is quite a good amount of money.
But plus she also has, I know the retailers that are participating are funding, they give her money for it as well, right? So they're drawing business to their property as well.
The venue thing is always a challenge. I'd like to see that be available after your discussion. It's really a challenge. Bothell doesn't have, a arts venue.
I mean, they don't have like venues in general, really, so.
I mean, the Opera House burned down in 1911. I was in Ashland, it's like they had an opera house, it burned down too, and whatever, it just never replaced.
All right, how about this? What I'm hearing is that a priority should be placed on venues, and I'll do that. And then once whatever's remaining, you want me to talk to Emily, or, I mean, I can also, I can also talk to the other artists. I mean, I feel that that I can work with the other artists and come up with some.
Yeah, I feel like for that amount of money, we're not talking, and we're talking.
No.
Yeah.
So-
But if for the Arts Walk, Emily has 2,000,
Mhm.
because if it's 3,000 or something close to that, then it's 1,000 per event.
Mhm.
That's a lot of money. just for-
Well, it was really,
It was, it was.
she's really,
done a good
Yeah,
job.
I
she's
think
done
that's
a lot more, and it has succeeded already.
And for an event like that, that is very little money to promote. It's like scraping. It's for promoting an event like that. It's very, very low. But I think she's doing exactly what we're trying to do, is inspire artists to create their own communities and like connect with, and that's exactly what she's doing. So even if it's just saying, we like what you're doing, keep doing it. Like, I think that's helpful to help her, enable her to, because she's already doing it on her own. If anything we can do more to bring more artists in is amazing. And the effort that she's putting in, that's, for me, well worth any money we can give her.
And part of her budget also included, having specialty activities going on, so like maybe music at one of the venues, or, bringing in a professional musician, these kinds of things, or an amateur, but paying our artists for the work that they're doing.
How were the artists selected for each of the locations? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
Can you say that number again? It's like 1,700 and
275.
1,275? Like, I want to divide it in half, but, because it's like, I guess that would be my question, is that venues being what venues are, if we divided the money in half, would that get both closer to what they need versus one over the other?
You mean the Bothell Art Walk and that other group?
Yeah, the group that needs the venue, if they need an extra
But there's another group too that is exploring venues as well. There's two groups that, so I guess maybe rather than trying to divide it and being like, just can we be a little flexible and have conversations, and I can come back at the next meeting and give an update?
Yeah, I guess I would want to prioritize venue and then see where the.
Okay.
Yeah, and even if the venue, if they say we're able to get everybody gets their venue and they needed $1,500 and there's $250 left. I feel like even that would be helpful for Emily. So even if there's just like $100 left or something, any little extra bit, it's kind of easy to say, oh, just go there no matter what the leftovers are.
Okay. All right, and I'll communicate with the two of you as well as we go.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right,
Quick thing, because I need, know when she needs to let her ride know, do we think, because I think we have your stuff and then final comments, which will be pretty short. So I just want to know, do we think we're going to wrap by 7:30?
oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're familiar with the Downtown Public Art Plan and Implementation Project. Our Economic Development Coordinator, Ashish Joshi, received a grant from the Port of Seattle, and it requires matching funds, so he has city matching funds, and he wanted to work with the Arts Commission on his project, so that's really exciting. You know, economic development is one of those things that is somewhat similar to the arts. You need to be creative, and you need to come up with ideas to try to increase economic development in your community. Some things are a given and will work really well, but some things you need grant money to think about and imagine new ideas. And so the way that this project is working is that we did a request for proposals. It was an artist-led project. We had 5 applicants. Mary Beth was part of that panel that reviewed the applications, and we had really one clear group that was just like, okay, they really get what it is that we're trying to do here. So it's an artist team, an artist by the name of Elizabeth Gann. She's teamed up with a group called Uncommon Bridges. Uncommon Bridges is a consultancy group out of Seattle that specializes in placemaking and community consensus building. Elizabeth has installed temporary, semi-permanent, and permanent public art pieces, most recently in Seattle and Tukwila, and she's also a consultant for public art. So they both have just incredible experience. So we're really excited to team with them. They will lead the creation of a downtown public art plan, and that plan will feature ideas for temporary public art and a roster of artists. And these are artists that specialize in temporary public art. And they will work with downtown businesses to build a plan and then build a roster. And then we will also have enough money to kick off the plan by doing an implementation project. So we hope to have the contract finalized in next month. We have to go to council for approval. So we hope to really kick off the first of the year. Originally, the goal was to have the implementation pilot project completed before World Cup, because we were kind of thinking the theme would be around World Cup. But we're still going to try for that, but that's a lot to do in a very short amount of time. And we were hoping to kick off the plan in October, but now that we are having to do some other hoops, like go to council for approval, it's going to take a little bit longer, unfortunately. So I think we're kind of adjusting our expectations on kind of what the theme might be, but there'll be a lot of input from the businesses on what that looks like. Any questions on that? Okay. All right. And then Lot E, F, and G. As you know, it's now called Triangle Junction. And council directed staff to activate this space. It's that lot on the corner of 522 and Bothell Way. The land will eventually be for sale, but it's being cleaned up. It's under remediation, but that doesn't mean that we can't be using that space. All of the cleaning is underground. A kickoff event happened last weekend. And there's just all kinds of great things going on down there. Instead of 4 pop shops, there's now 8. There's room for food trucks and community events. There's a community garden. Thank you, Holly, for trying to keep those plants alive. There's public restrooms. And then we are doing a couple of projects down there. We have Blades of Change through our Creative Arts Grant Program. Ashish has some funding to do mural walls. You'll see that the murals are there, but now we just need to come up with a plan to select the artists. So we're thinking that the best way to do that is to make it available to local artists only. We would do a call and we would highlight a theme so that I think there's 6 individual panels. So if we had 6 artists doing each panel and we had a theme, then there'd be some cohesion within the wall itself. Ashish and I would love to have the Arts Commission kind of come up with the theme for what the panel could be. One idea that we had, just to kind of get the creativity going, is say hi to people. Apparently, there are reports that 1/3 of Americans don't know who their neighbors are, and they don't feel that they can reach out to people. And so if we can work on developing a campaign to encourage people to say hi, that might warm up all of us a little bit more. I think the pandemic had a little bit of an effect on that. You hear about the Seattle freeze and, so so that was one theme that we had, but if you guys have other ideas, and I know we're short on time, so if you want to talk about it now, we can, or if you want to shoot me an email, then I can kind of start culling that information together, and I can even be sending everybody emails, and you can reply your response.
And what kind of timing, when does a theme need to be determined?
So, because we're getting into cruddy weather and the panels are already up, they can't be done indoors. So we really have some time to think about what the theme would be. We'd probably do the call by ideally by February, select by March, and then do contracts and start working on the art in June. Kind of what we're thinking.
How close are these mural walls? Because if they're like pretty nearby, we would have like one cohesive drawing that's then drawn in different art styles.
Well, they're together. So they
Like an accordion, like folded paper almost, like.
Yeah.
So they're connected.
Yeah, they zigzag
Good, yeah.
and they're connected. So I think there's 6 different panels, if I remember correctly. I don't know, I'll have to.
And
verify
measurement
that.
wise, how big are they roughly? Like,
Terrible at that, 3 by 5 maybe.
About, yeah, maybe a little.
not that big.
They're not very
As big
big.
as a person.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so,
Hmm.
definitely not that big. I don't, maybe a little bit smaller than that TV screen.
Okay.
And there's, we could use words with art and, tell a story through, we have a poetry group that meets every Friday at Willard, so we could encourage some kind of collaborative teamwork between the art and the words for whatever the theme may be. We would pay a stipend to the artists for each, piece of each panel that they do, maybe up to $500 for supplies and their time.
Sorry, go ahead.
Can we reach out to tribal members to apply to really be sure they're included, I guess?
Well, we talked about making this a local project, so residents. So if they're residents, I mean, unless you don't want to do that, I mean, it's up to you guys to decide. But I know that one of the goals for these kinds of projects from time to time has been, can we just use local artists? Even that we've had conversations.
I don't
about
know if we have information.
On Native artists and,
Yeah.
or ties to, if they have ties to Bothell and,
Or maybe we could ask at UW Bothell, I don't know.
We also talked about, like, is one panel for sure from a youth artist, right? Just like, how do we?
Yeah, that's right. So we talked about that last month, I think.
For the group that meets at Willard, I think Jaden,
Yeah.
knows them.
Yeah.
He's been there. So, I mean, Jaden could even.
See, that would be that connection, that if you had that connection with Willard and that group, you could be that person that tells that story.
And I believe
this person may not be a resident, but I believe that there is someone who I think is a tribal member who is a part of their group. I don't know how regularly they are a part of their group, but or if they are a resident, but I have seen them there before.
Or maybe it's just somebody that has a tie to Bothell, and that could be one of the questions that we ask, is.
Right. What is your tie to
What is your
Bothell?
tie to Bothell?
Explain it, you know.
Yeah. And then that would open up opportunities for.
I mean, the say hi is definitely an interesting idea. I mean, I'm knowing this group, I'm sure people have other ideas too, which would be just great to kind of brainstorm or whatever. Do you want everybody everybody think about it independently? Do we want to set some time at the next meeting to just kind of like feed off of each other's ideas, something like that? I mean, what do you think?
You could email me separately and tell me your ideas. I could put them together in a list and start forwarding them to everyone, and we can, be even talking, we can talk about it in November too.
You can think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think sometimes it's like when people, it's a fun conversation to have, like, what ideas, and what have you seen other people, like what other, what else is out there that you thought was really interesting, and I think it'd be kind of a fun thing to talk about just as a.
Yeah, please email me any ideas you have.
Yeah, if we were having this like right now, like we had ready by the end of the month, I had a really good one, but it only works in October.
Uh-oh.
There's crows, so I was gonna be like, because you like saying hi, I was gonna make it find your murder, because literally only works in this month. Any other time
Well, it does, actually, that's not true. I mean, it's interesting.
November too.
It works,
Since
well,
they're gone now.
well, it's interesting because I saw so many of them like yesterday, Tuesday morning, all right around here in the morning. I'm like, well, where were they sleeping though? Because they have, I mean, a huge segment of them went over towards Redmond, but I don't know that they've all left, right?
No, there's a bunch up towards where my sister lives now. They just, the construction, I think they didn't like, and so they left the school, but they still fly over my apartment. It's like, they're just going like slightly more that way.
Yes.
Like, since it's like Halloween and stuff, then it's like it feels less like disturbing.
That's true.
The discussion, I mean, that space, Triangle Junction, is this convergence of all these, just the roads, the people. You think about like the No Kings protests, and that's become like our town center in some ways, right? I mean, you've got Main Street, but it's also this gathering place, and there is something to be said about like, people connecting there. You wonder could it take on even more, even have more behind it there?
Please send me your ideas. I'd love to hear them, and we can, I can communicate them. If we get a lot in the next week or two, I'll start communicating it in between, but if it's only a couple, then we'll talk about it at the next meeting.
Great. And are you just trying to, so everybody should try to if you have some ideas, send them within the next week, maybe.
That'd be great. Yeah, absolutely. That's it for me.
All right. Let's move on to final comments, and thanks, Danae. Anybody have anything they want to say about what's happening around town? There's got to be some trick-or-treaters,
I mean, trick-or-treaters are going to be happening. I know Main Street's doing their thing.
And I would just say, even if you don't have trick-or-treaters,
It's so much fun.
it's so much fun. Especially, I sit at the vine. That's where all these.
It's like the perfect grandparent.
Oh, I know. Yeah, well, I don't have grandkids, right?
But you're like, I'm just.
Oh,
you're getting
but I know, it's just so fun to watch. All the little kids. And just walking around there is fun.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's happening, and then it really quiets down. I would like to say, I don't know if anyone else caught this, but it was hot news at UW. Mary E. Brunkow, who won the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine, UW alum, but she did her work that won her the Nobel Prize here in Bothell.
Wow.
At UW Bothell?
What?
At UW Bothell?
No, at a lab in Bothell, like over in the business park. It's called Celtech Cryoscience.
Very cool.
And so, I mean, it's science, it's not the arts, but I'm a STEAM person.
Oh,
And so I just want
absolutely.
to be like, hey, let's all acknowledge
That's
that
awesome.
Nobel Prize
did
winner
you-
did her work here in Bothell.
Did everybody hear about how she got that phone call in the middle of the night?
Yeah, she did.
She
Right.
thought it was
She's
scam,
so
and it wasn't until the photographer came that she realized.
AP News reporter knocked on her door when she was like gonna go take the dog out. It was like, how do you feel about winning the Nobel? And she was like, what? Yeah, we had a group chat at work about Do you just stay up? Like, is there a group of professors at UW who stay up that night, all night?
Answering whatever call comes through, right?
Like, is this the year? So,
Wow.
or is there a tip-off? Apparently not.
Apparently not, right.
Crowfest is Saturday, October 25th. It's on Main Street. So if you're out and about, attend Crowfest.
Also, if you didn't go to the art walk last week, the Willard, their whole theme is all crow art
Yeah.
right now, so. And the Crowfest is a daytime event, right? I think that I remember being.
Yeah, noon to 5 or something like that.
Sorry, what day was it again?
25th.
25th, okay.
And then the artist mix and meet and mingle will be before our next meeting as well. So,
Yep.
Please attend.
yes, everybody please come to that. Anything else regarding what's going on around town? Okay. And then, so future meeting agenda items, we talked about the brainstorm ideas. We also talked about the longer term ideas that we had and kind of sharing that. And then Danae, I feel like was there, you're going to update the overall, our strategic initiatives, whatever we're calling that, I'm sorry. Our strategic plan calendar, yes. Any other action items? I guess that's it. And then after that, we talk about the action items, I think, right? I guess then the last item is like wrapping this up. I don't know that we want to know a score yet, do we? Are you watching?
Yes.
Is it really bad?
Yeah,
Let's just not talk about it.
Okay, we won't talk about it. All right, that's too bad, dang. All right, so let's adjourn. We need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
If we stay in the meeting, we don't have to, deal with the mayor's
All right, you made
I made a motion, yeah.
All right, does anybody want to second the motion?
Second.
All right, thanks, AC. All right, the motion is to adjourn tonight's meeting. Does anybody want to talk about it? I don't think so. Amrita, oh, is Amrita still there? No? Okay. Okay, so all those in favor, raise your hand or say yay. All right, it's unanimous. We will adjourn tonight's meeting. Thanks, everybody. Happy Halloween. So what are the trick-or-treaters?
I'm in the middle of costume making right now, and we got Connor on board to do a matching thing. Because we tried last year and he was not about it. They are going to be Superman and his dog tripped out.